James Harden is 29 years old. Closer, if not on the exact same timeline, closer to the timeline of Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram. Closer, in fact, you would say, to any free agent that he would bring in this summer. And that's a real trick for LA, is it not? The 2-for-1 deal. If it's true, there's so many of the Ks, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, don't want to play with LeBron James. What happens when LeBron James is a Houston Rocket? All of a sudden, you're back open for business. You have James Harden and cap space and willingness for free agents to come in and join him. Not only do you get James Harden, you get the open door that the absence of LeBron James creates. How does James Harden and Kawhi Leonard sound to you, LA? Both possibilities in a post-LeBron James world. Who says no? I think we first established Los Angeles does not. Who says no? Let's take it from the Rockets side of the equation. The Rockets trade James Harden for LeBron James. The Rockets get older, but the Rockets' window is now. They have LeBron James' best friend, Chris Paul, sitting there waiting. Chris Paul's game fits with LeBron James' game. In fact, the Houston Rockets system fits LeBron James. Give him the ball. Let him penetrate. Let him distribute. Surround him with shooters. You have that in Houston. Let him get to the cup. LeBron James is, I think we would all have to admit, a notch or two above James Harden. In the short term, right now, in the next year or two, do you think the Rockets would be better with LeBron James running the show than James Harden? I think the answer is yes. This deal, I know sounds crazy. This proposal, LeBron James for James Harden, I know sounds off the wall. This deal, I know sounds like a hot take. But the deal is, if you can't find the party that says no, then why is it a no?
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That is the number to call into the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Thanks again to the one and only Meta World Peace. Comes a long way. It's come a long way. And, bringing attention to mental health issues. It's a big deal. Everybody can't be Kevin Love and DeMar DeRozan. Individuals who are damn good players, class personified, some of the great guys this game has ever seen in terms of their humanity, who they are as people, how they conduct themselves. Some people even have more problems than that. Ron Artest from Queensbridge. Ron Artest from the streets. Sometimes you gotta be. I just need to put it out there. Sometimes you've got to be a bit beyond the pale just to survive. Nobody here is advocating, endorsing, or in any way lawlessness, not obeying the law and what have you. But when you come from nothing, sometimes you feel like you have nothing to lose. And sometimes that stuff is so overwhelming mentally and emotionally that you find yourself in really, really bad circumstances. That doesn't mean that you don't pay the price when you do the crime. And it damn sure doesn't mean that we should encourage or condone criminal activity. But there is a level of understanding that sometimes is required from people who have mental health issues. And props to all of those guys and then some for acknowledging, and I don't mean to mention Meta World Peace, Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan, people in the same breath as others that have engaged in, lawless behavior. I'm just pointing out the fact that when you got problems, sometimes the only thing you know how to do is to create problems for other people. So kudos to Meta World Peace for bringing attention to that. And we go from here. Let's get back to the phones at 888-SAY-ESPN. Let's go to Ari You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Hey, Stephen A. Big fan of the show.
Thank you.
Before I jump into this AD trade to the Knicks, one thing I've been meaning to say for a long time is that as a native New Yorker, I am completely disgusted, not with James Dolan, not with Phil Jackson or the past 20 years of ineptitude, but that Benedict Arnold traitor Max Kellerman. I cannot believe that this guy calls himself a New Yorker, and now he's a Los Angeles Lakers fan. I don't care how much pain we've been through. I don't care. We got to call de Blasio, tell Dolan to ban him. Let's get this on Instagram. The New York does not want Max Kellerman anymore.
Well, let me say this to you. Hold on. Let me say this to you. I got a problem with you because the bottom line is Max Kellerman, no matter who the hell he's rooting for, has not done worse to New Yorkers than James Dolan. Now you're going too far. Max Kellerman may have his feelings. Max Kellerman may have his emotions. Max Kellerman may frustrate you because he's a New Yorker that has turned into a turncoat. He's abandoned New Yorkers by being an LA fan. But that does not compare to the damage that James Dolan has done. I think you're crossing the line there.
Okay, fair enough. At least James Dolan, though, in his defense, has always cut the checks. And,
I agree with that.
No problem with the
I agree with
tax.
that. But the fact is, the ineptitude that you're speaking about that absolutely rakes your nerves with the New York Knicks has nothing to do with Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman is a reaction to the level of frustration and depression that has been caused by the very people you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Right.
And
Go ahead.
I admit. But regarding the ineptitude of the Knicks, that's part of the reason why I'm against the Anthony Davis trade as a native New Yorker. And here's why.
Really?
Yes. I'll
Go
tell
ahead.
you why. Because besides the fact that it feels a lot like the Carmelo trade back in the day, if there's one thing us Knicks fans have to learn is that you can't throw we have been trying to recover from that Allen Houston 6-year, $100 million contract. Finally, our books are clean. We have all our draft picks plus Dallas's picks. We have young talent, and we have a clean slate. Now, the reason why I'm against the Anthony Davis trade is not because he's not a top 5 player. Of course he's a top 5 player. He might be a top 5 power forward of all time when it's all said and done. Now, the issue is the price. I feel like the Knicks are going to get fleeced. Now, what I suggest is instead of doing this big three that
Hurry up, because you're getting on my nerves. Hurry up.
I suggest that we keep our young talent and then use part of that young talent.
What young talent? Michael Robinson? Kevin Knox? Dennis Smith Jr.? What? And by the way, no, I listen to you enough, okay? Anthony Davis is 26 years old. He's not 36. He's 26 years old. He's got at least another decade in this league. He's 6'11". This dude blocks shots. He rebounds. He scores from the perimeter or inside. He can play facing the basket. He can play with his back to the basket. He's universally recognized as one of the top 5 talents in the entire world. His career averages are 23 and 10. He just finished out with this debacle of a season. He's averaged 25 and 12. The last several years, he was averaging 28 and 12. And he's 26. What are you talking about?
Okay, I understand, but let me ask you this. If we do get Anthony Davis, right, and let's say we do get the 2 big-name free agents, Kyrie, Kemba, Kevin Durant, whoever, you think we're going to get 28 and 13 out of Anthony Davis?
Let me tell you something. You could. First of all, you could. First of all, he would. First or third. Did you just say Anthony Davis? Did you say Anthony Davis in third fiddle? Did those words just come out your mouth?
No, Anthony Davis, if we do get Kyrie and Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis would be the second best player on the team. But because he's a power forward, he doesn't have the ball in his hands, his usage will go down significantly, a la Chris Bosh or Kevin Love. And I just don't see why you mortgage the future.
Goodbye. He just said a top 5 player in the world in Anthony Davis, his usage would go down significantly and he mentioned the word Chris Bosh and Kevin Love. Oh, no. Anthony Davis is not some dude that's deferred. Stay to the side, and we'll give you the ball when we feel like it. No, Anthony Davis is the dude that can make Kyrie say, I got to get this brother the ball. He's the dude that can make Kevin Durant Durant say, I got to get this brother the ball. That's just ignorant. And oh, by the way, what are you talking about? We need to build our young assets, and it's going to cost us money. What do you care? You're not paying for it. You're not the billionaire that is Dolan that's cutting checks, riding the backs of New Yorkers everywhere while you gave them close to nothing for damn near 20 years. I mean, you can't make this stuff up what some of you people have the nerve to call me up and say. You just try to get on my damn nerves on purpose. That's got to be the reason. That's got to be the reason, because it makes no sense. Anthony Davis, we're going to defer, and he'll be a third option. That's ignorance basketball drivel coming out your damn mouth. Ban him from calling my show for the rest of the week. Jonathan Nuno, ban him from calling my show the rest of this week. Don't have him back on the lot. Got no time for that damn ignorance. The hell's wrong with you? It's top 5 player in the world. Tony, you're live with Stephen A.
What's up, Stephen A, man? First of all, let me quickly say you're great at what you do, man. Thank you for taking my call. I got 2 quick questions I want to get in with you. First, just dealing with Durant being the best player. I want to hold you accountable because I know you're a historian in this game. So my question to you with Kevin Durant is, how is he considered the best player? Best scorer, great scorer, got it. When he on his team is a direct reflection of what his teammates are. For example, if you look at Jordan, Pippen didn't make Jordan. His wins didn't come from Pippen. Pippen helped. The teammates helped. Nobody made LeBron. That's why Wade had to tell LeBron, you got to be the man.
Hold it. Wait a minute. If Dwayne Wade had to tell LeBron, you have to be the man, and Dwayne Wade in concert with Pat Riley had to convince LeBron James to up his level of assertiveness and aggression and become the player that he is, how is that not assisting in making LeBron?
No. I said he assisted, but that assistance was mental, not his game. With Kevin Durant got the game. He got it. He
Hold on,
like
LeBron had the game, but it was mental. Kevin Durant had the game. When did Kevin Durant not have the game?
No. Kevin always had the game. Here's the difference, Stephen A. Kevin always had the game. The difference is when LeBron took over being the man, you've seen him in those championships he won be a direct reflection of raising his team. So when he leaves, they don't even make the playoffs.
First of all, Kevin Durant was on a better team with Oklahoma City. That's first of all. Secondly, he was in the Western Conference, not the Eastern Conference, which we know was considerably tougher. Thirdly, and more importantly, Kevin Durant had been to a finals and lost. He had also been to a couple of conference finals. It wasn't like he was a scrub. Fourthly, Kevin Durant averaged 27 points throughout his career. He's averaged just the same since he's been in the Golden State. Fifth, every attribute that we talk about Kevin Durant, I am not drawing a distinction between – I am drawing a distinction. When you talk about team, fine. But I'm saying the individual ability of the player, because that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about necessarily your impact on your team, because LeBron James is 260 pounds. If necessary, LeBron James can get down and bang you. LeBron could hurt some people if he really, really wanted to, if you be honest with you. Kevin Durant is just an exceptionally more skilled and talented version, a little bit shorter than Manute Bol. That's what it is, because that's how skinny he is. The fact of the matter is, when you look at his skills and what he brings to the table, there is no question the elite level of ball that this brother can play. Also, by the way, he's a 2-time NBA Finals MVP for a reason, because when he's been on the basketball court, he's had to uplift both Steph Curry and Klay Thompson during the NBA Finals because their games wasn't necessarily there. So all of those things get taken into consideration. And last but not least, we also have to make up our mind as to what we want to say about Russell Westbrook, because let me tell you something right now. I have and always will have a problem with Kevin Durant leaving for Golden State, which I have told him to his face. But the reason is because he was so great, he so dramatically shifted the balance of power, which means that we don't get to ignore his greatness just because we didn't like what he did. The fact of the matter is we didn't like what he did because we know how great he is. So as we sit here and talk about the best in the world in terms of their own individual talent, how can we ignore the greatness that we maligned because it so dramatically shifted the balance of power in the NBA for the 2 years he's been in Golden State?
I agree with you 1,000%, Stephen A., but here's the question for you, though. it's not that he has great players with him, because everybody has had great players that won multiple championships like them. The question is the level of great players he has. They are not better without him, but they still win on the same level as them. They just swept a team. The level. So look, Stephen A., look, if you take Pippen out for Jordan and replace him with Reggie Miller, you still got Jordan going.
Well, let me tell you something right now. We never gave Pippen his props. Pippen, if it wasn't for Hugh Hollins, would have took the Chicago Bulls to the finals and probably beat Olajuwon and those boys in Houston. But we'll never know. And the fact of the matter is, when you look at Kevin Durant as an individual talent, it is what it is. So what I'm saying is, if you're comparing him today and you want to make this argument, because I'm running out of time, here's my question to you. Who are you saying should be better than Kevin Durant?
I'm saying the best player in the world to me still has to be, when we're talking player, not scorer, it still has to be LeBron or Kawhi.
Okay. Well, it doesn't have to be Kawhi. It doesn't have to, because we just learning about Kawhi now. We just learning about him. He had an NBA Finals MVP where he averaged 14 points, okay? And then he got hurt in game one of a playoff game against the Golden State Warriors. This is the coming out party for Kawhi Leonard right here. So we're just learning about him. I don't want to hear about him in this puppy resume. No. You talk to me about LeBron, that's debatable. But Kawhi Leonard is phenomenal. He's fantastic. But he has just really jumped on the scene. Only played 9 games last year. Year before that was down in game 1 against the Warriors. Year before that got bounced out by OKC and Kevin Durant. Couple of years prior to that, the man sat up there and showed out. And oh, by the way, after he was MVP, still with Tim Duncan and those boys, winning 67 games, going 40-1 at home, they still got bounced out in the first round. Let's sleep on that. I got to go to break. 888-SAY-ESPN. If you missed any of today's show, go check it out on demand. And the Stephen A. Smith podcast brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in 5 minutes. Capital One, hey, what's in your wallet? Capital One, N.A., member, FDIC. Back in a minute to end the show.
No time to wax your car? Introducing new 303 Touchless Sealant. It's a quicker, easier alternative to traditional vehicle waxing. Simply spray on and rinse off, offering twice the protection and shine of traditional wax. Available at